new pussycat, welcome to my channel. My name is Emma Cownley, I'm a freelance copywriter and blogger, and today we're going to be tackling one of the larger, more important issues associated with advertising and marketing and copywriting. And it's a bit of a big one. It's a bit of a big one, and it doesn't matter where you are in the process of starting your own business or embarking on any kind of career in advertising or marketing or copywriting, you're going to come up against this. So we may as well have the conversation in the here and now. And that is about ethics. Now, this isn't going to be a whole long boring thing, hopefully. This is a video request that came to me through email on my website, and it's something I'm particularly interested in. I've already talked about it before when I hosted Content Club UK for the very first time. That's what my theme was, and I asked a lot of freelance content creators in the UK kind of their views on ethics and their role in ethics within advertising. And I find it really interesting, so I thought, yeah, why not? Let's go back into this topic again and chat about it here. Before I delve on into it, I'm going to go through the usual YouTube stuff. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel or give this video a little like if you find yourself enjoying it at any point. I'd really appreciate it if you could do that. Also, you can find me on Ko-fi. You can buy me a coffee. If you like this, you've been a viewer for a long time, perhaps you think, I'd like to do something nice back for Emma, I'm going to buy her a coffee. I'd love that. Got a real Josie and the Pussycats vibe going on here today. I'm not quite sure what's happening with my hair, but to be honest, when I film these videos, I just like to come as I am, you know? So, the topic of ethics will affect anybody that works within advertising or marketing at all, whether you're a designer or a copywriter, or you're somebody who's tasked with coming up with the kind of concepts and rolling that stuff out. It kind of touches every aspect of that. And it doesn't matter where you sit within your career, if you're at the very beginning or if you've launched a business or if you're a senior, you will have come up against this, or you will inevitably come up against it in the future. It's something which will affect you. So it's helpful to have these conversations and just sit down and think about, like, where do you stand on the issue, how far do you want to take it, and what are you comfortable with, and where do you feel that your responsibility lays? Because, as I'm about to explain, there are several kind of tiers, not tears, but like tiers within this issue. And it really depends on how deep you want to go. I've kind of singled it off as being like 3 levels of deepness with regard to ethics in copywriting and marketing. And you're going to have to get comfortable with it and decide which tier, how deep you want to go down that path. With the first tier, which I am calling the Big Kahuna. So I've actually had to kind of write a bit of a script out for this bit, because usually I don't script my videos very heavily, but this is kind of quite important, what I want to say for this first level of ethics in copywriting. And that's because I feel the Big Kahuna level touches everyone. No one is exempt from this. It doesn't matter how ethical you feel you are yourself, or how comfortable you are with ethics, or how much you've thought about ethics in your work. This definitely does sit with you. This sits with you. So the way I see it is that media is responsible for shaping ideology. It just is. Advertising works by either playing into or subverting commonly held beliefs, values and ideologies that we have. That's how it delivers you the message. That's how it captures your attention. It either plays heavily into your perceptions of reality, or flips it on its head and subverts it to catch you off guard, right? That's how it works. I mean, how else are you going to convince somebody that they need a product or service in their life? You show them their life as it is, and then how the product or service can improve or elevate that experience, or how it fits neatly into that experience, or how it complements that experience. In order to do that, you have to convey the experience as it stands. And in order to do that, you need to kind of rely on stereotypes all common perceptions of the average person, the average life. This is what a housewife looks like. This is what a student looks like. This is what a young professional looks like. You need to rely on stereotypes in order to quickly convey all that information within an advert, be that print or a television advert, for example. You only have a couple of seconds to send the message. In order to convey all that information quickly, you must use stereotypes. It's how people understand the story and the setting and the character, as it were. And unfortunately, stereotypes rely on a commonly held set of beliefs about a person or a lifestyle. And those beliefs come from media. We've constructed them and we use them as a tool to convey a narrative. This is all sounding very, very deep, because it kind of is. You have to mimic real life to show the product in action. And it's this mimicry which begins to shape public consciousness of what a certain type of person is or isn't, and a certain type of lifestyle is and isn't. And although it's super easy to rely on those stereotypes and those ideologies for advertising, unfortunately, it does reinforce public perceptions about those things. So when you work in advertising or in marketing, you are in charge of shaping ideologies and perceptions of stuff, just at a top level. Whoa, right? So as writers, it's our responsibility to understand the gravity of the messages that we're crafting to sell things to people, because we're all contributing towards those ideologies and those commonly held belief systems. We're contributing to that, and we can choose to have a positive or a negative impact with the stereotypes and the messages and whatnot that we're kind of throwing out into the world, because those are being internalized, and then through that they become real life. People become those stereotypes, or they aspire to be those stereotypes, or they feel rejected and marginalized by those stereotypes. And as writers, we do that. That's our job. So, I mean, you have a responsibility when you're crafting those messages to at least be conscious of the impact that you have with the work that you do. Be fucking cool about it, yeah? Just be cool about it. Know the power you have. Don't be a dick. So the second level of ethics within copywriting, if you want to get a little bit deeper than that first level of just having an awareness of your power, is choosing who you work with. And in regard to this first level of ethics, freelancers are incredibly lucky to have the luxury to say no to clients who are insistent on reinforcing negative or damaging messages and putting those out into the world. If they're dead set on something and you don't feel comfortable with it, you have the ability to say no. And throughout this video, it's going to keep coming up that the ability to say no, that's privilege. It's entirely rooted in privilege. Some freelancers cannot afford to turn jobs down. They need that revenue to survive. They need it to pay the bills. It's not their fault if they have to take those jobs. Just so long as, you know, you're going into it with the awareness of the responsibility you have. I mean, what more can you do? You can't really. It's only through a position of extreme privilege that you're able to turn these jobs down, and that is, you know, got to recognise that fact. But the fact remains, we do kind of have the luxury to choose that. You also have the power to change those messages. So I, for one, I have come from a past of suffering from eating disorders. I made a video about it once before, so if you want all the gory details, you can go away and watch that video if you really feel like you want to. And working as a lifestyle copywriter means that I often write for brands, protein powder brands, supplement brands, and people who kind of focus on personal training and stuff. And it's happened before that I've agreed to take on one of these clients, and I've said, looking at what you've already got on your website, there are some extremely troubling messages here. How about we make it more inclusive, we make it more encouraging, and we change the angle slightly so it's this, and that way people don't feel like they go on a diet to become better. They're going on a diet because they love themselves. You know, you're doing it to care for yourself. You're not doing it to be perceived as better in a physical kind of aesthetic way, you know, that kind of thing. So, I mean, if you're being hired as the external voice by a company who's looking for an expert in messaging, and you know, because that's what a copywriter is, so we've got the power to come in and say, this message is really gross, and this is all the reasons why. Could we try something like this instead? You know? As I mentioned at the start of the video, I have talked to the freelance community about ethics before, and there was a lot of debate during that conversation about, would you work with an online gambling site? Would you write for fast fashion? Would you write for the sex industry? What I'm going to say is it's really totally up to you how you play that. So do what feels comfortable and right for you. I know where my line is, and I think that every freelancer or writer needs to know how far they're willing to go. And so when we come to the deepest level of ethics as a freelancer, and that is ethics as brand. I know a lot of freelancers who are sustainable and ethical copywriters for fashion and lifestyle, and they have thoroughly created a business around the whole idea. They talk the talk, but they walk the walk. That's what I'm trying to say. They donate trees for every invoice paid. They've lowered their business carbon footprint. They have environmental policies. You know, they've got a very strict code of ethics on their website. So you know, ethical brands are going to work with these ethical copywriters because they are 100%, you know. There's loads of ways that you can incorporate wholesome ethics. Is there a car out there right now? Really? Really? There's all sorts of ways that you can incorporate ethics deeply into the core of your brand, and that's if you really want to go the whole fucking shebang. You only work with ethical companies. You kind of look down the rabbit hole as to your carbon footprint as a business. You know, you go all in and you have that freedom. Again, it's your business. Do exactly as you want. So in my mind, those are the 3 tiers of ethics as a copywriter. Being aware just on a top level of the impact that your work has when you are crafting these messages to the world. It doesn't even have to be a fucking fancy advert with a strapline that's like beach body ready, you know, where you're basically destroying the self-esteem of every woman that looks at that poster and realises that they will never look like the model in that, and therefore will never be ready for the beach, and therefore should probably just hide in the shadows and cry under a blanket. Blog posts, the messages that you're giving with blog posts, social media posts that you're writing for clients, that's a particularly big one. Just basically anything that you're crafting, you're putting messages out there and you're relying on that commonly held belief to push your agenda. So make sure that your heart's in the right place and you're just being conscious. Next level down, picking and choosing clients, deciding whether a job is, no, I'm not going to work with that company. They treat people like trash. I'm not doing it. Or it's a steady paycheck and I'm probably going to donate a portion of that to charity afterwards just to kind of level the scales a little bit. Whatever. Third level, all in. 100. Ethical to the bone. Environmental policy. Living and breathing the life. And so to circle back round, I do think that every copywriter has to think about these things, and especially if you're launching a freelance business, your business has an impact on the world. No matter how big or small that business is, it is impacting the world in some way, and it's up to you to decide what that impact will be. And this has felt like a really fucking heavy video to do. At the time of filming, it's like a Monday morning at like 8:30. Oh, hey, you coming up? Yeah? Come on then. Cat's here to lighten the mood. You're just gonna fucking circle me like a shark. Come on. Hope you found this video today useful, and at least have some shit you want to say about it, sound off in the comments below. Let me know your views on ethics in copywriting and whether you found yourself in a situation where you've had to kind of make the call between, you know, acting ethically and chasing that paper. I'd be really interested to hear the experiences you've had and you know, what your thoughts are. I mean, do you feel any responsibility for shaping stereotypes in society, or do you feel like it ain't that deep, sis? Let me know what you think below. And you can also find me on Twitter at EJ Cownley, and I'll be happy to chat to you there. And yeah, I'm going to see you back here same time, same place in 2 weeks. Got a little bit of a Halloween banger for you next video, so stay tuned. It's going to be a fucking hoot. Okay? So take care of yourself, and I'll meet you back here in a fortnight. Take care. Peace out.